Democratic Senator Bob Casey is here. He is part of a bipartisan group of U.S. senators working on a new deal to deal with Syria. He joins us. Good evening, sir.
Greta, thanks very much.
Sir, I want to point out that back August 5th, 2011, you wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post saying that President Assad should step down. I'm going to ask you about that in a second, but first I want to ask you, have you read the New York Times editorial op-ed by President Putin and your thoughts about it, sir?
Yeah, I just read it before we came on the set here, Greta, and it's unfortunate that President Putin is using the kind of language he's using in that op-ed. I think he's trying to be clever, but for any leader to assert, after all the evidence has been on the table, that somehow the rebels are to blame for the indiscriminate use of chemical weapons that killed over 400 children, to assert that any regime other than the Syrian regime is responsible is really ridiculous. His whole op-ed craters because of that very unfortunate line. But look, we shouldn't overestimate or overanalyze an op-ed. If the Russian Federation is serious about removing the threat of chemical weapons from Syria, they should work with us. If they don't, then this proposal will fall through, and we should maintain the authorization for the use of force and allow that to go forward. So the Russian Federation has to make a decision here.
All right, in terms of force, the President's talked about a limited strike. You, more than 2 years ago, said Assad should go away, should step down. So we're not seeking, at this point, for regime change. So where do you sort of stand on that now?
Well, there's no question that I believe that the best result for us in terms of the result that would flow from removing Assad from power would be a much better result for our national security, because the maintenance that Russia and others have provided to keep Assad in place means that the Iranian regime is strengthened. That's not good for our interests. Hezbollah is greatly emboldened and strengthened. So we should continue, I think, the United States policy that Assad should go. How we get there is another question. This particular operation would be to focus solely on the use of chemical weapons. Now, it's possible that if airfields and aircraft are degraded and taken out, that could have an effect on the battle. But I don't think there's any question that a very focused and limited and proportional strike is in the best interest of our national security. And then we'll see beyond that what the policy should be. I would favor robust support for the opposition to the well-vetted members of the opposition. I think we can do that and ultimately affect the outcome without the use of a larger operation.
The problem with, quote, opposition is the opposition has got so many particles. There are like, 25 or 26 groups. Can we identify an opposition? Can we arm that particular opposition? And can they succeed?
Absolutely. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't extreme elements in the opposition. But here's the best estimate: 50,000 fighters in the Free Syrian Army, 37 to 40,000 in the Liberation Front. So you have at least 80 to 100,000 potentially moderates. Say that's off by 10,000 here or there. There is no question that the overwhelming numbers in the opposition are moderate and nationalists. They want a different Syria. Does that mean that al-Qaeda and the Nusra Front and other extremists will try to take over? Absolutely. But for anyone to assert that it's better for Assad, the Iranian regime, and Hezbollah to be victorious here, I don't think knows what they're talking about as it relates to our national security interests and what's best for the region, but principally what's best for our national security interests.
Senator, as always, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Greta.